You can use automatic allocation to have the system generate a number for you automatically. For example, you're a company who holds production and there's no vendor involved. In this case, the serial numbers can be generated and automatically allocated to the products. To automatically allocate serial or batch numbers, you must create a number group and assign it to the item. Serial and batch numbers can be assigned to several products sequentially from the same number group. Let's switch over to AX and create a new number group and assign it to a new product. I'm here in Inventory Management, and I'm going to go down to the Setup, Dimensions, and then Number Groups. You could use the same number group for batches and serial numbers, but we're going to create separate ones. You can see in my demonstration data, I've got one called Batch Auto and one called Serial Auto. The Batch Auto number is used for automatically numbering my batch numbers, and Serial number is used for automatically numbering serial numbers. If some items are to use one numbering sequence and others a different numbering sequence, you can create as many number groups as required. We'll go ahead and click the new one, and I'll create a new simple one called Serial. On the General Fast tab, there are several checkboxes which control how the serial number will be generated. The first checkbox is the Date checkbox. If this checkbox is selected, and you can see it was selected by default, the year, month, and day will be included in the serial or batch number automatically. The Reference Number checkbox is used to include a reference number such as a purchase order or production number. So, if I mark this checkbox and create a new production order, let's say W0013, the W00113 would be included in the batch number. The lot ID is the unique number that is assigned to the transaction by AX. Remember, this is not to be confused with the batch number. I'm going to deselect this checkbox, and the last checkbox here is for the number sequence number. If you want to include an automatically generated number that follows a sequence, you mark the checkbox and then select the number sequence code. I've got a number sequence code here created automatically. Let's right-click on it and select View Details to see what it looks like. If we go down to the Segments tab, you can see it's just a 6-digit number. I can tell because there are 6 hashtags specified here and the format is 6 digits. You can also include constants such as letters or numbers in your number sequence as well. On the right-hand side, you'll notice there's several checkboxes. The Allocation checkbox for Manual is used to say that the serial and batch numbers will be manually allocated for these particular items. Because I want my allocation to be automatic, I will not mark this checkbox. The next checkbox, only for inventory transactions, is used to assign the generated numbers on the transaction instead of on the purchase order line. When you mark this checkbox, the On Physical Update and Per Quantity field become available. The On Physical Update indicates that the serial and batch numbers will be updated when the packing slip or picking list registration is posted, anytime the physical inventory is updated. The Per Quantity allows us to specify how many quantity can be included in the same serial number. If you want this serial number to be unique, you would enter 1. If the same serial number could be used for each case or each 10 items, you could type a different number into the Per Quantity field. Next, we'll click the Activation tab. On the Activation tab, there are several checkboxes that you can enable the automatic allocation of your serial number or batch number. By default, the Purchase, Inventory, Production, and Kanban checkboxes will be marked. This indicates that the serial numbers will automatically be generated on purchase orders, inventory transactions such as cycle counts or inventory movements, production orders, and Kanbans. The order activation is used for sales orders. I could repeat this process to create another number sequence for batch numbers, selecting the options as needed, and then I can assign these to my orders. Let's go over to Product Information Management and create a new item and assign it to our serial number. Underneath Product Information Management, Common, and then Released Products, I'll create a new product with just a serial number. I'll click the new item, enter in an item number, and give it a name. We'll create oranges for our example. I can select a category. I can apply a template. I'm going to select some values in my item model group and item group fields. It's very important that your storage and tracking dimensions are selected correctly. For this item, I'll use a site, and because I want this to be serial number controlled, I must select a tracking dimension group that includes serial number. So I'll choose the one called serial. The unit of measure will be eaches, and then I'll click OK. Now that I've created my item, I must edit it to assign the serial number group. The serial number group is found on the Manage Inventory tab underneath the Tracking group. Oops, too far. I'll select the serial number group that we just created called serial. If I wanted to repeat this process for a batch number, I can use the batch number drop-down box to select a batch number group. I can select one here for this item, however, it will not be used because this item is not using a batch number. Now that we have discussed how to allocate batch and serial numbers, let's discuss how tracing works in our next lesson.